Hey guys, gents and ladies, welcome to the final week of the APIs. This will be probably several different videos. So we're going to start off with the first video here. This is a website called Render.com. So Render is a cloud hosted platform. Probably underneath the hood, it's using, I believe, AWS or Azure DevOps, one or the other, but nonetheless, we're going to use it for setting up our environment. So ultimately what we want to happen here is, so let's kind of talk about this a little bit. Create a screenshot. All right, so what we want to have here, and I'll make this a little bit bigger. Yeah. So ultimately we learn how to write an API. So we want to have our API. So we want to have a service, right? And where does that service live at? That service will live in our GitHub repository. We learned about the other service hosting platform. So let's kind of start here. So we'll say service. We'll say hosting platforms. So we learned about this one. We learned about Netlify. And so that one is for enabling, mainly enabling static websites to a degree. So I mean, it's websites that you're pushing up to do certain functionality. Can it run Node.js on it? Absolutely not. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that ability to run Node.js at this time. So this would be, stuff that you did right now. This other one right here, Render, it can run services. So it can run services, including Node.js. So you kind of see where we're going with this. That is what we want to happen. So Render is, we're going to set up a free account. And on Render, what we want to do is, let me think about this. We want to be able to set up our service. Well, two things we want to do. Set up our service, which would be our API service that is on GitHub. So we want to build it to communicate with that. So anytime that you deploy a change to your code, it kicks off a build, builds the process, and builds that service. So that service is running on Node.js. The second thing that we want to do is set up a database. So that would be the Postgres. Now this one won't communicate with GitHub because you're going to build it. So you've already built a database in your current platform. So what you could do is you could copy your schema and put it out there. So, and we'll talk about how to connect to it and all that stuff. So I'm gonna walk through now. I have a working model, but I don't want to share that working model because it has proprietary information in it, and I can't hide information. So we'll just start from scratch. Okay, so that's kind of what we're going to talk about how to do today. So hosting platforms. So we're going to learn about this new hosting platform, how to get things set up. We can probably take that off there. So that's what we're going to learn about today in this video, is how to get Render set up, how to kind of build stuff out, get things started. Next video is the second video we'll learn about, I have to use a different computer because, well, it's a whole long story why I can't access it thanks to somebody. Whole other story. Thanks to, I'll be completely honest with Point Park is locked down computers, and I have a Point Park laptop. I teach computer science, so they made it very difficult for me. Anyways, so we'll do another video on a different computer, and that video will walk through how to set up the database. We'll set up the database. We'll talk about how to set up the service and all that stuff. And then, so this will kind of get us started. Then second video will be setting up database online. And then within the second video, we'll set up a database online, and we will okay, we will deploy our API service to Render via GitHub. So we'll talk about how to do that. So once we have that doing, is then we could test the API via Postman. Okay. The third video, which probably will not be released until tomorrow sometime or Tuesday, so it's a little late on it, will be how to, because it's I might, because there's a lot of work going into this, so we might make that the last assignment for the week. So that might be module 8 assignment, and that video will be setting up JavaScript on your website that will have options. So you'll set up JavaScript on your website that talks to your service. And you know what? I think that's what we're going to do, because to be honest with you, there's a lot going into this. I know I read some of your emails and people were having some struggles, and I want to help with that. So I feel like if I just throw the kitchen sink at you, it's going to be really tough, and I don't want to do that. So what we'll do is we'll focus on this week just getting our services that we built, because we might be kind of running over and deployed and out there and running, and we could test it in Postman. And then the last week, module 8, would be the part where we build a so we'll actually put it down here. Module 8. What I was originally going to do, I'll kind of X that, and that's fine. We'll set up. We'll put this. Set up our JavaScript website, and it'll include the ability to what we'll be able to do. So it'll include the ability to use post commands. So what does that mean? Probably text box, drop down list, etc. to save data from the user screen and by using the API, API endpoint. Okay, so you'll have that. So then we'll have another one that will allow you to use modification. And then we'll have one that allows you to purge existing data. And then we'll have one that allows you I put use modification. Okay, use modification. Another one is to display data via, third party API. Yep, that's another thing. So some cool stuff that we'll learn in module 8. So it'll all come together. I know this took some time, but you learn how to build an API. You learn how to build it using a data model. Then you learn how to build it from scratch. And so there's a lot of cool stuff you got to do. You got the last week or this week being Sunday night, you're learning how to connect it to a database. So it's getting really exciting. And then this week we're configuring everything online and getting all of our services up and running and test it, and boom. And then last week you're building some functionality on a website that connects to it, and then that's it. So that's the fun part of it. Then it's all over. All right, so let's get started. I almost forgot what I was doing. All right, so first thing is first, go to render.com. We're going to set up a new account. I'm going to start up a new account as well. I'm already signed in. So let me sign out. So let's do sign up. Actually, let's do this. I am going to do incognito mode so I don't lose my service. So let's do render.com. All right, so get started. I'm gonna sign up. You can use GitHub, but I'm gonna sign up for a new one. So I'm gonna use my professor think it's, oh, geez, I already forgot. I think it's Professor Jeffrey J. Seaman. We'll use an existing email. Yeah, we'll use that email. Let's see, email for my videos. Yep. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I noticed. And then we'll give it a password. And then we'll do complete sign up. All right, so it's going to send me a verification. We've sent you a verification. All right, cool. So let's do this. Activate it. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I want to put it in the incognito mode screen. So I'm going to copy that. Come over here. Paste it here. Perfect. All right, email is confirmed. You're ready to go. All right, so give me a second to remember how to do all this. It's been weeks since I started from this. All right, so first and foremost, we want a new database. So click New Postgres. You want to come up with a unique name. I'm going to use students, and I think that's what I had before. So that's fine. If I need to change it, no big deal. It's a unique name for instance. So that's going to be the name, and I'm going to call it students. So you know what? Actually, I'll call it unique name for Postgres instance. So I don't want to call it students. I will call it poop. I can't think of a good name. I'll just call PPU for Point Park University, and CS for computer science. ACS for applied computer science. And then the database, I'll call it students. I'll give it a username, random username, randomly generated, unless you specify it. I'll call it Jeffrey J. Seaman. You can pick the region where you want this. I'm gonna pick Ohio since it's closer to me, versus picking Europe or US West. Postgres version, I think I'm on 15. Datadog API key. We're not using Datadog. That's another day for another dollar. We're gonna use this free version, 256 RAM, because it's storage of a gigabyte, no big deal. And then create database. Perfect. All right, so this is important while it's creating it. So what will happen is, while this is creating it, it'll provide us a URL that we connect to. Now, when you are building in Module 8, you're building your web application and you're trying to connect to it. You can't run it locally. It's unfortunate. So the best thing for that is to run your local instance, and I'll teach you how to do that in Module 8. You'll want to run your local instance. So that's why you want your local instance and your instance on the web to sync up. So that way, if you run it locally, you can test it, make sure it works. And then when you deploy it to the cloud, you'll change your configuration pointing to the cloud base. All right, so now it shows it's available. It's doing something with replica. Okay, so here's your host name. This will be your host name. This will be your port name. This is your database, so it gives it students. Looks like it's WM6L for me, my username. It'll give it some random password, internal database. And this will be something that we will talk about once we get to this, because this will be a little different of how we do that. So for example, what I recommend is to copy this information, right? And then if I'm gonna use Sublime, because I love Sublime for stuff like this, for my text editor. So let me create a new file. All right. So then what I'll do here is I'll paste it over here. So it has my name, blah, blah, blah. So you have to kind of find it where, oh boy, thought I'd be able to find it from here. Okay, that's not what I wanted. So I did internal. Let's see, external. Okay, let me think about this. Copy that, give me a second. Okay, that's what I want. I wanted external, not internal. All right. So I was looking for something that didn't look right. All right, so database DPG. So this right here is your host. So this is my host. So you'll be that ohiorender.com. That is my database, which is students W6L. Okay. And then we already know our username, and this, I believe, is our password. So if you come down here and look at password, it looks, yeah, same thing. Most of it. It has that at there for that other thing. So I'll do this right here, cut that out, and then I'll put password. And then I know my username is Jeffrey J. Seaman. Perfect. So this will be stuff that you will need to connect to once you set up your database. So in the next video, we'll walk through how to set this up on Postgres. So that'll be important to set up. So that is how you do that. All right, so now we have that up and running, so that's good. Next thing is we'll go back to our dashboard. So we should have our servers here running. Perfect. The other thing that we need to do is build a web service. And so this is where you need to connect to your GitHub account. What I haven't did is I need to find my code for my students, and I think I have it somewhere else. So let me pause this video and change that real quick. All right, I'm back. I'm gonna configure my database. So I have my students environment here. It won't work because I don't have the database configured. We don't have the database on, but I have to go through that process before we can say, hey, this is how you do it. But what you would do is here in this case, we would connect to GitHub. So connect to GitHub account. So then you would sign into your GitHub account, sign in, verify, blah, 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 authorize render. Yep. Being directed. Do that database. I'm just going to do only select repositories in this case. I'm going to choose a repository which is students. There we go. Install. So that way now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that I can connect to it. Hit connect. All right, so you're deploying a web server, students. We will call it students API. I'll use Ohio once again. It's the main branch. What's going to be the runtime? It's Node. This is the build command. So you know how you type in Node. You type in what is it? Node, and then the file.js or whatever. So we would just say Node. And let me confirm that is exactly it. I'm pretty sure that's the command we want to use. So let me go to my other screen here, log in, and make sure that's how I have it configured. But I'm pretty sure that's what we have to do, because that's what we do. No, I don't want to do that. Sign in, cancel. Nope. I was trying to set me up again. All right, so environment. Settings. All right, let's see. Main branch. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we want to have. We have runtime Node, and we want to say Node server.js. So if you're saying server, if you have an app.js, whatever, that's what we want the build command to be. Let's see. Auto deploy. Let's get down there. Yeah. So we have start command. Start command. Yeah. Hold on. Build command. Okay. So I got it backwards. So it's just Node. Runtime. Well, they changed something on me. See, they added runtime or web service. Oh, okay. So you put the service. That's Node. Okay. So that's a new feature. Build command is Node, and then start command is the node server.js. Yeah, they changed it a little bit. Perfect. We'll use free instance. Now this is not going to work when I save it because if we try to run it, it's not going to work because I don't have it set up. It might connect to my other environment that I have using the database, but there's a chance it might not work. Okay, so it said built successful, but let me double check something here. I'm pretty sure that it is not gonna work. Yeah, because yeah, because the host I have is not local. Yeah. It says it's running, which doesn't make sense because I am using a host that does not exist on this host, but it uses a different host. Not sure how that works, but we'll be able to test it. Just not at this. Well, let's see. One thing about the service is running, so let me see something here real quick. It shouldn't work. It says it's available API, so it's a Postgres. I'm a little curious now. I'll be honest with you, because it shouldn't work because I'm using a different instance, unless the instances talk to each other, and then that would be interesting. We'll play around with that on when we're testing stuff. But for now, this would be how you do it. Once you have your service up and running, you connect to it, and boom, you're deployed. And that's how your services will work. Now, go to the dashboard. If you go to your dashboard, you see the Students API has been deployed. Anytime you make changes to that API, it'll update it here and say, okay, boom. And then same thing with the database. So next video, we'll talk about how to set up the database, how to configure that, because you're working to the web, and we'll go from there. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for your patience.